Habemus Papa.
In an historic conclave, not after the death of a pope, but instead the retirement of Pope Benedict XVI, the doors closed inside the Sistine Chapel. 155 voting cardinals in place. Outside, a steady, driving rain. The faithful faltered and left St. Peter's Square. That is, until the white smoke drew them back. As the bells echoed through Vatican City, the sounds of people screaming in different languages. White.
È una fumata bianca, bianca, bianca.
Massive monitors brought the smokestack into focus. Hope after just a day and a half.
Ecco, ci siamo arrivati, eh?
People flooded back to St. Peter's as the clouds cleared, highlighting tears of joy. Then, a bit of confusion.
Sancte Romani Ecclesiae Cardinalem Bergoglio.
Jorge Mario Bergoglio, the cardinal from Argentina, was the new pope, choosing the name Francis, an homage to St. Francis of Assisi, who mentored the poor. He spoke softly.
Buonasera.
A greeting in Italian. The crowd may not have known Cardinal Bergoglio, but in an instant fell in love with Pope Francis as he asked them to pray for him.
Pregate per me.
Prayer was often on the mind of Jorge Bergoglio growing up, even though he came later to the priesthood. Born and raised in a middle-class suburb of Buenos Aires, Jorge Mario grew up with 4 siblings. His parents, Mario, a railway worker, and Regina Maria, a housewife, were of Italian descent. He began his career as a chemist, but soon switched course to the seminary. An intellectual, he taught literature, philosophy, and theological studies in Argentina. He penned a book with his overriding philosophy in the title, True Power is in Service. He was ordained a priest at age 33. Then Pope John Paul II named him assistant bishop in Buenos Aires. 5 years later, archbishop, with his elevation to cardinal in 2001. But as he rose to the top, his lifestyle remained firmly grounded. Instead of living in the bishop's luxury residence, he chose a simple apartment where he cooked his own meals and navigated the city using public transportation. As Pope, Francis chose casual vestments, wearing his old pectoral cross from Argentina, shunning gold for a gold-plated fisherman's ring, and never wearing the customary papal red shoes, instead wanting to walk with the people as he led his flock. He cared for the sick, each year visiting hospitals, AIDS hospice, and prisons, washing the feet of the ill. In his first journey through St. Peter's Square, Pope Francis stopped for a sick man, an image hearkening back to Christ embracing the poor and ill. He held babies as the people held him up as the man who would make a difference.
I vescovi, i sacerdoti, i diaconi.
The climate changed for the Vatican with this new pontiff and his independent style. From the night he was elected, he hopped on a bus with his fellow cardinals, rejecting the private luxury car reserved for the Pope. And the next morning, without a security detail or a limo, he jumped in a VW and went out among the people. And the people had high expectations that he would right the wrongs of the church from sexual and financial wrongdoing.
Per mettere a fuoco il cuore degli eventi di questi giorni.
In a first, he faced the media on day one, challenging reporters to join him in the Trinity, a pursuit of truth, goodness, and beauty. In his early moves as Pope, he both shocked, angered, and embraced. First, making the church more inclusive to women and LGBT+ people. Conservatives were not happy. Liberals complained he didn't do enough. He promoted women in the church, but refused to ordain them. He maintained he was trying to be inclusive.
Un cordial saludo para todos los participantes del Congreso.
And a tone. He convened a special meeting to directly address what can only be described as a crisis in the Catholic Church: sexual abuse by clergy. The man known for compassion and kindness had a reputation for being tough on clergy.
That is something that I think the Holy Father's committed to.
Chicago's Cardinal Blaise Cupich, a Pope Francis appointee, took center stage in efforts to repair.
And covering up the scandal to protect perpetrators and the institution.
He criticized war and taught peace. He championed for the environment and strove to make the preachings of the Church more simplistic and understandable. Although always in precarious health, with part of a lung removed in his 20s, for a decade, the Holy Father still traveled on 45 international trips to Brazil, Jordan, Israel, Palestine, South Korea, France, Turkey, Bosnia, Peru, Africa, Iraq, Poland, Cuba, and the U.S.
Ambedue sono contro la vita.
Recently, the U.S. leadership, most especially policies regarding immigration, was a target for the Pope as he spoke out harshly against treating people inhumanely. Though counseled by his doctors to rest, the Pope pressed on until at 88, bronchitis, then a polymicrobial infection and bilateral pneumonia left him bedridden in the hospital. And now, after Pope Francis took his final breath, as the faithful mourn, a look back on his first words to all as Holy Father, a prayer, then a send-off.
Buonanotte e buon riposo.
Good night, and have a good rest in peace.